How's it going, everybody? This is your boy Quan here, and welcome to pretty much another interesting and long talk. The human body is super adaptive. However, there's both a good side and a bad side to how adaptive the body can be. So, one of the good ways that pretty much the body, and also bad ways that the human body is highly adaptable, is when you really look at it, it's based on consistency. Now, I'm not just saying that pretty much whatever you do every day. I'm also saying what you do every other day. What you do every week. What you do every weekend. That's what mostly it applies to. Good side of that is if you follow a very even old school traditional strength programs, still have benefits because they're based off of one thing and one thing only, which is we're going to give you a weight and you're going to lift that weight until we start seeing some progress in your strength. As usual, as me being a fitness professional, there are two main modes that have shown that you've improved in your strength. One is you can either do more reps with that weight, or B, you decide to test yourself with going a little bit above that weight that you were testing with, and you can lift similar reps with the weight as if it was a ladder. That's basically how it goes. And this can be applied to a lot of things, but first, due to strength training basics, strength training foundation, basically you start pushing a certain weight, you may push it at certain times, you may have this cadence of like 1 week you may hit high reps, or one day you may hit high reps, or another day you may hit low reps. You just kind of keep that circle going, or you may try to beeline it to like a certain consistent number consistently. But eventually, if you do it right, you monitor your body. It's called auto-regulation. You know how it feels, you feel how it recovers. You start to even feel how strong you become after following any kind of strength training program. But that's the good side of how adaptive the human body is. The bad side of the adaptive how the body is the old quote that goes, if you don't use it, you lose it. That goes with pretty much muscle, It also goes with strength as well. For example, if you don't do anything that pushes your strength boundaries, then your strength will pretty much be at that same line. Or sometimes worse, if you start to even not do anything involving strength, whether it be lifting weights or not even trying to do body weights, then your strength kind of lightly starts to decline. And the reason why that happens is because your body is adapting to that point of, well, since I don't need to get stronger, since I don't have the right stimulus to remind me to keep getting stronger, I don't need it. And I'm gonna go downward. And that's pretty much how adaptive the human body can be. Pretty much you see it a lot of times, and yes, there are of course some special people who are just talented or genetically gifted that they were almost born to lift that weight, to do that exercise. However, that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. Because if you even don't try, then technically you're letting your adaptability be used in a negative way where, oh, well, I was always weak. Okay, cool. Anybody's gonna be like, well, you're not giving me anything to be stronger about. You're not giving me anything to lift. You're not giving me a stimulus to start increasing from. So yeah, we're just gonna stay weak. Or in my case, I'm gonna go a little bit weaker. And you wanna make sure that you're always on the uptick of that. So that's how pretty much adaptive, I'd say, the human body is. And there are pretty much a lot of examples I can use. For example, when you pretty much start walking more often. In the beginning, yes, you'll start to feel a little bit of some sensations. You'll start to feel maybe your feet will a little bit hurt. Maybe you start to feel a little bit gassed or a little more tired than you usually do. But if you keep those numbers consistent and you keep doing it, either weekend, there's an every week or you keep doing those similar numbers every week or every day, eventually your body will get used to it. And your body will start to like, I'm doing this stimulus. I should do the right amount of energy to keep up with this stimulus. And of course, the bounce back of that stimulus is you have to make sure that is, I like to call pretty much a traditional strength program, which basically for me means that pretty much you're doing a certain amount of reps in the beginning with a certain amount of reps that might be difficult, that might be slightly difficult. It's going to be a little bit struggling, but you're rising up. But eventually, once you are used to those certain kind of reps, that is your new norm. And your norm means that is pretty much how your metabolism is going to work. That's how your body's going to work. And the only way to make sure you keep those gains up is every now and then, when you keep that pace going, you need to do a little bit of an increase. Not a big increase, a little bit of manageable increase. And when you keep it going like that, yes, it will feel like that, man. So basically saying that one day I should be able to walk 10 miles easily. Yeah, you should be able to walk 10 miles easily because that's how your body works. That is the phenomenal thing, the phenomenal adaptability of the human body, is that you can really push it with the right amount of programming. You can really push it to the point to where it is just at an awesome pace, where it just keeps going up. You know, we're going all the way up, that kind of thing. That's how your body works. But once again, going back to the other side of the adaptability, and this also goes out for my people who do certain kinds of work that has them on their feet, physical labor, all that stuff. Your body get used to that too, and then eventually need a little bit of a more outside stimulus to help. Example, let's say that you are a construction worker or a nurse, and in the beginning, when you're starting that program, when you were starting that job, you were realizing that your body felt a little bit sore, your feet felt a little bit sore, but after a while, you're starting to realize that you're starting to slim down a little bit. You got a little more pep in your step. You're already used to that, or you're getting used to that. But the negative side of that is that pretty much since your body is used to that stimulus, it is used to when you work, you walk that many times. It is used, or is used to pretty much when you work, is used to lifting up that many things. Eventually, that's his new norm. And because of his new norm, that means pretty much your body gets used to it, including metabolically. Because the thing about pretty much metabolism is your metabolism will increase when you're doing something difficult. But if you're not doing something difficult, or you're doing something that used to be difficult, but now your body's used to it, your metabolism goes back, or it sets a new norm, which means your body gets used to that. So that is why that even though the two professions, and maybe a lot of other professions I'm not hitting, maybe like, cops, firefighters, even teachers, even people who may be walking almost endless amounts of miles, or feels like endless amounts of miles. The reason why you may not be losing that much weight or gaining that much muscle like you did when you first did that is because your body's now adapted to it. That is its new norm. That is like, hey, I don't need to do much. I know it's expected. But when you flip it back to the good side of the adaptability, you still can change that. You can, have a fitness tracker, keep record of how many times you walk during your job, and see if you can surpass it. Or better yet, do a workout before you go to work. That usually helps out. And if it's a mixture between a general conditioning workout plus a traditional or a good strength training workout, to where you're eventually trying to pretty much increase your numbers, you'll probably get right back or even better than you were during that time. And that goes with like a lot of things, when we've seen as kids, where kids were constantly moving around because our body was not used to that. our body was still growing. People forget that pretty much as kids, if your kids are doing the right amount of movements, the right amount of walking around, technically your kids should be a little bit thin, only because they're doing that much, then their body's kind of constantly going everywhere, and you want them to go everywhere. And then of course there's a lot of things that go into it, like possible diet and maybe some other hidden issues. However, most of this can be physically done through movement. So keep that in mind. The human body is super adaptable, but is adaptable both on the good side and a bad side. And my advice is always look up, try to challenge yourself just a bit so you can still keep using the good side. Because if you don't use it, if you don't push yourself, you may be in the maintenance mode to where your body's used to it. And then if it keeps going, then it might be going into the bad side. Hope this helps. My boy Quan right here. Stay awesome. Deuces.